One-of-a-Kind Show presentation by Maha Khan. Which companies will be the most successful at the One-of-a-Kind Show? This is the question that I have to be determining the answer to during this presentation. Let's start with company number 1, AG Macaroons. Let's go through each of the 5 P's to see which companies will be the most successful at the One-of-a-Kind Show. Product. The macaroons were very visually appealing. They had attractive colors and flavors. The colors were sorted in rainbow order, so they were naturally more attractive. The target market in this company, I would say, are children and adults and everyone in general who loves macaroons, but mostly children, because children are the ones who are attracted more to the bright colors of the macaroons, especially if they're sorted in rainbow order. This booth was kind of near the front, but not directly in the front. This is a good location because people see a lot of booths in the front but don't necessarily go to the first one they see. The booth was at the corner, so when you'd walk, it would be the first thing that you'd want to go to, and it had the visual appeal to draw you in. Since the booth was in the corner, it had more space to organize their macaroons. Their backboard and background in general went with the colors of their macaroons to make a contrast with the overall visual appeal. The salespeople who worked there looked pretty young and very energetic. They were very interactive and always talked with us and helped us with whatever we needed and answered all of our questions as well. The booth was one of the most organized booths there. They had their macaroons out on the booth for the people to see which flavor they wanted. The macaroons were covered by a glass case and they were sorted in rainbow color to make them naturally more attractive. They were separated by a thin plastic line separating each flavor. Each color or each flavor had a mini card with its flavor name on it, so the customer knew which flavor it is, making the booth more user-friendly. The macaroons were $2.50 for one, and $5 for 6, and $12 for $13. I think these are priced really good because making the macaroons cost money, and the salespeople obviously needed to make profit as well. The target audience was probably adults and kids, but I think they were targeting kids more with their colors and all. The macaroons were well priced for any kid, adult, and anyone in general who wanted to buy macaroons. Company number 2, Tealish Fine Teas. The teas were packaged very nicely and they were good quality as well. The target market was probably people who drink tea, mostly adults, maybe kids sometimes. They had samples so people could try the tea and see the quality of it as well. The booth was near the back and near the food area where we eat lunch. This was a good location because they would have attracted a lot of foot traffic and a lot of customers. Most of the people who ate their food and started walking afterwards would be attracted to the booth since their booth's location was so good. Same as the macaroons, the people who worked there looked relatively young, maybe in their mid-20s. They were very engaging and always told us which flavors were the best and selling the best too. They helped us find the flavor we wanted and answered any questions that we had, and their mood kept our mood happy as well. The teas were sorted in rainbow order, just like the macaroons. The different colors signified different flavors. They also had different shades for the same color since they had so many flavors. The teas were stacked on top of one another since they to organize their booth more attractively. When they were stacked, they were also stacked in rainbow order to make it more visually appealing. The booth was at the corner, so just like the macaroons, it had more space. It had 2 rectangular tables stacked on top with different flavors of tea. The arrangement is probably why most people were attracted to this booth. They had each flavor packed up and ready to go if anyone wanted to buy it, and they also had an open flavor for people to smell it and to know what they were buying. Very user-friendly. The teas were priced around $16. These were priced a bit high in my opinion, but students were probably not their target. The cans were relatively big and they had good packaging that must have taken a lot of money, so the price makes sense to be that high. The target audience was probably the older group of people because older adults and retirees buy more tea than us or younger people, and they might have paid more for it as well. The one-of-a-kind show was actually filled with more older people rather than younger, so it's better to have a product that will suit your target audience rather than one that won't. Company number 3, Gotamago. Gotamago had more than one product. There are many tags and cards for you to buy and give as a present. There are cards that say to and from, so when you're giving, for example, a present to someone, you can use those cards. The cards had different designs imprinted onto them, so they looked really, really good. So the booth that was actually placed was near somewhat similar products, such as gift cards and presents and that sort of area. They also had wishing cards for holidays and presents that people could buy. The booth was near the middle of the rows, and this was very beneficial for the booth owner since the people who went to the other booths were attracted to go to Mago, and then there would be a lot more sales. The entrepreneur was a young girl, maybe in her early 20s, and was very energetic, ready to help and answer any questions I had. She always smiled and had a good mood that attracted more customers to the booth. Their booth was overall very visually appealing. It was themed with different shades of brown and white to give it some contrast. The frames were mostly dark brown to go with the caramel brown title. The booth had tags layered on top of one another so that the customers could see all the designs of patterns there were, making the booth very user-friendly. The booth also had organized shelves to rather than bigger paintings. The booth also had shelves to organize their bigger paintings. The pricing really depended on what you were purchasing. The bigger pictures were a bit more pricier, around $10 to $15, and the smaller tags were $2 each. Making these tags were probably easy. The bigger ones probably used more ink and paper, and frame, that's why they were probably more expensive, and the lesser ones the opposite. The target audience could really have been anyone, kids, adults, anyone, because these cards and tags could be bought by anyone as a present or for themselves. I feel the products were priced really good and that they would have sold successfully. Christie's Gourmet Gifts, company number 4. The booth mostly sold chocolate and chocolate-related things. There were heart-shaped chocolates and chocolate spoons and chocolate bars and chocolate on a stick, mostly, decorated with a ribbon. Everything was decorated, so it made everything more attractive and visually appealing. The chocolate was pure milk chocolate and tasted really good. They had samples for people to test out the quality and see how good the value was. The booth was really, really big. It was one of the biggest booths there. It was decorated, so it was kind of hard to miss, with lights and ribbons and everything. The booth was near the food, but also near the middle, so people who weren't buying food also could go to the store and make their sales more. There are a lot of people who were working there since it was a relatively big booth. Everyone at the booth was extremely nice and cooperative, and they helped in any way possible. They even offered us samples to show us what the chocolate tasted like. The booth was also one of the most visually appealing booths there. The booth was themed with black, brown, and red colors. The chocolate was layered on top of one another for the people to see in a very organized way. The hot chocolate spoons were $4 each. I feel this is a good price for the product because it's a really good price for anyone to buy. The target market can be anyone really or anyone who loves chocolate. Making chocolate is probably made using things in bulks, meaning the overall price becomes cheaper. But when the packaging, buying plastic to wrap it, ribbon, and everything to make it more visually appealing, it costs more, and obviously the company needed to make profit. This is why I feel the pricing for the chocolate was good. I feel all of these 4 companies were probably successful at the one of a kind show because of the reasons listed. They had good product, good place, good location, good people, good promotion, and a good price, making them a good successful company at the one of a kind show. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.